Hey there, and welcome to today's episode of Furniture Industry News. It's Wednesday, April 30th, and if you're in the business of selling, manufacturing, or moving furniture, you're in the right place. We're here to catch you up on everything that's happening in the industry so you can stay informed without having to dig through all the noise. Let's get right into it. Let's start with some big picture insights, because what consumers are thinking and how confident they are matters a lot to what ends up happening at the cash register. Right now, consumer expectations have hit a 13-year low. A mix of rising tariffs, inflation, and labor market uncertainty is dragging consumer sentiment down. And while people are still spending, they're doing so with a lot more hesitation. In fact, many families are starting to focus more on savings and cutting back on big-ticket items. For the furniture industry, that could mean slower demand for discretionary purchases like new bedroom sets or upgraded dining furniture. Now, let's connect that to something more tangible. Tariffs. Yes, they're still in the headlines, and they're making waves. At the recent High Point market, one of the biggest topics on the floor wasn't design trends or hot products. It was tariffs, specifically the potential for reinstating tariffs on furniture imports from China. That uncertainty has already caused over 20 retailers to either pull back or pause their buying decisions at market. A lot of buyers are holding off until there's more clarity from Washington, which means slower order volumes in the near term. That's not just talk either. We're seeing real decisions being made based on tariff concerns. Some retailers at High Point told Furniture Today they scaled down the number of vendors they met with or held off on committing to new product lines altogether. One buyer put it plainly, they're waiting to see what kind of price increases might be coming before they make any big moves. And it's not just about price hikes, it's about uncertainty. When you don't know whether your costs are going up 5% or 25%, it's hard to make smart, long-term buying decisions. Despite the tariff talk, High Point Market itself saw a decent turnout. Attendance was down slightly, about 4% lower than last year's spring market, but it was still solid overall. That's especially notable given all the economic headwinds right now. Brands and retailers alike seemed eager to reconnect in person and see what's new. While the aisles may not have been packed shoulder to shoulder, traffic was steady, and many exhibitors reported productive meetings with key accounts. The energy was there, just a bit more cautious. And even though attendance dipped a bit, what's encouraging is that the buyers who showed up were serious. Exhibitors noted that the quality of interactions was high, fewer just browsing conversations, and more strategic talks about what's selling and what's coming next. For many, it wasn't about expanding assortments, it was about refining them. Now, let's talk about a smart strategy. Let's give a shout out to XPO. The logistics provider just released their Q1 results, and they're outperforming the broader industry. That's no small feat right now. Freight volumes are down across the board, especially in the furniture category. Still, XPO managed to grow its business, mainly by staying aggressive on pricing and focusing on high-margin customers. Their strategy seems to be working. They're leaning into technology to create more transparency and efficiency in how they move goods. For furniture brands struggling with delays or rising transportation costs, having a dependable logistics partner like XPO can be a real asset. And in an environment where consumer patience is wearing thin, getting inventory where it needs to be, when it needs to be there, matters more than ever. But all of this, tariffs, logistics, shifting consumer behavior, comes down to one central theme: adaptation. The furniture industry is entering a new phase where playing it safe might not be enough. Retailers are starting to look harder at data, at their product assortments, and at their vendor relationships. There's less appetite for risk, but also more demand for flexibility. Buyers want options that allow them to pivot quickly if consumer demand shifts or if supply chain disruptions pop up again. So, what's the takeaway? If you're a retailer, it's time to stay nimble. Keep a close eye on what's happening with tariffs, because even a small shift could impact pricing and inventory plans through the end of the year. If you're a manufacturer or wholesaler, make sure you're communicating clearly with your retail partners. Offer them flexibility where you can. They're under pressure, and the vendors who make things easier are going to get more business. And if you're watching the consumer side, know this: even though confidence is low, there's still opportunity. People may be more cautious, but they're still willing to spend when the value is clear. That could mean promoting versatility, offering financing, or emphasizing quality and durability over flashy designs. Whatever your approach, make sure it's grounded in what your customers are really feeling right now, not just what's trending on social media. All right, that's going to wrap up today's episode of Furniture Industry News. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon with more updates to help you stay ahead of what's happening across the industry. And hey, if you found today's episode helpful, take a second to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Talk to you soon.